A clear blue sky, a cockpit vibrating with the hum of engines, just like any other. Then, sudden, absolute silence. No debris floating on the surface, no iridescent oil slicks, no one left to hear the final transmission. This is the reputation of a region that doesn't officially exist on any map, yet the world knows it as an aquatic graveyard. Over the last 2 centuries, 20 planes, 50 ships, and hundreds of souls have dissolved into the blue. 70 mysterious disappearances are etched into the records. Some call it a curse, others a freak of nature. I'm going to strip away the legend and expose the raw numbers to reveal whether this place is a malevolent force or a mathematical coincidence. Before we dive into the data, feel free to follow along for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries. Cast your eyes over a map of the western North Atlantic. If you trace a line from Miami, cut across to San Juan, and stretch it north to Bermuda, you've enclosed a staggering expanse of water. This is the Bermuda Triangle. Some prefer the name Devil's Triangle, a title that suggests something predatory lurking in the crushing depths. It's a vast, empty void, but the map provides no hard border because no official boundary exists. There are only coordinates and the suffocating weight of the Atlantic. To the casual observer, it's merely a high-traffic shipping lane. To those who believe the legend, it's a designated zone of erasure. 5 TBM Avenger bombers roared off the runway at Fort Lauderdale on December 5, 1945. These were rugged, battle-hardened machines, yet they were heading into a training exercise that would dissolve into aviation's most persistent enigma. Lieutenant Charles Taylor, a seasoned flight leader who should have been the anchor of the group, soon radioed a message that chilled the controllers. His compasses were malfunctioning. The sky, which had begun as a clear canvas, was shifting. Taylor's voice began to fray, leading to a palpable sense of panic. He believed he was over the Florida Keys, but he was lost, drifting blindly over the open ocean. The radio contact grew sporadic. Then the voices of those 14 men simply ceased. When a PBM Mariner search plane was deployed to find them, it too vanished into the ocean's darkness. No wreckage from the 5 Avengers was ever recovered. No debris field, no oil slick. Just a haunting silence where, moments before, 14 lives and 6 aircraft had existed. This wasn't a simple navigational error. It was a total erasure of evidence, leaving investigators with nothing but static and empty coordinates. February 1918. A massive steel hull cuts through the North Atlantic, carrying 300 men and a heavy, unstable cargo of manganese ore. This was the USS Cyclops. It simply ceased to exist. No debris, no oil slick. Most chillingly, the Cyclops never sent an SOS distress call. The U.S. Navy officially described its disappearance as one of the most baffling mysteries in the annals of the service. It was a silence that felt intentional, as if the ship had been plucked from the surface of the earth. But the water didn't stop there. In 1941, the USS Proteus vanished in these same waters while carrying 58 passengers and a load of metal. The Navy began to suspect a pattern. Then, exactly 1 month after the Proteus disappeared, another Navy vessel vanished with 61 people on board. Hundreds of sailors, thousands of tons of steel, and dozens of lives, all swallowed by a sea that refuses to leave a trace. September 13th, 1492. Christopher Columbus is recording the first anomalies in his log. He notes that the compass needles shifted a half point northwest at the start of the night and drifted even further by morning. But the bearings weren't the only things failing. In his detailed journal, Columbus reported seeing the sea rising and a strange light resembling a wax candle moving up and down in the distance. This is where the account shifts from a logbook to a ghost story, yet the observations remain documented facts. Fast forward to 1606. A monstrous hurricane strikes, and a large English ship carrying 150 travelers is wrecked near Bermuda. That disaster is believed to have inspired Shakespeare's The Tempest, where he describes the Bermudes as being vexed or cursed. Then there is 1881. A ship sailing from Liverpool to New York encounters a ghost ship with no crew on board. In a sudden storm, a boarding party enters the vessel, but a sudden storm separates the two ships, and those men simply vanish into the mist. August 1964. A pulp magazine article in Argosy changes the way the world perceives this patch of ocean. A man named Vincent Gaddis writes a cover story, coining the term Bermuda Triangle. He isn't just reporting, he's architecting a myth. Gaddis asserted that the disappearances in this limited area far exceeded the laws of chance, claiming it had destroyed hundreds of ships and planes without a trace. The fire spread rapidly. 10 years later, a book is published that pushes the boundary further, arguing that the region is a gateway, something involving ancient civilizations, magnets, crystals, and wormholes. The public's hunger for the unknown was absolute. A single volume promoting the mystery sold over 14 million copies worldwide, translated into 22 languages. The mystery was no longer a coordinate, it was a global phenomenon. But there's one piece of data from the shipping industry's most trusted source that changes everything, and we'll get to those numbers in a moment. Deep beneath the ocean floor, something is trapped in an ice-like lattice of frozen water. Methane clathrate. When this lattice breaks, it triggers methane blowouts, massive bubbles of gas that can literally suck a floating object down into the abyss. It's a form of oceanic flatulence, an unconventional natural gas that transforms the sea into a void. But the surface is just as volatile. In the Caribbean, high-intensity hurricanes and Atlantic tropical storms can produce rogue waves of 100 feet or more, the height of a 10-story building. These waves can snap a ship's hull like a toothpick. Then there are the invisible forces. NOAA cites disturbances in geomagnetism that warp navigational tools. These geomagnetic lines of flux shift the magnetic compass, creating a discrepancy between true north and magnetic north. For a pilot or a captain, this failure in wayfinding is a death sentence. Wait, we're falling for it again. We're replacing one myth with a science-y sounding explanation. It's easy to be seduced by the idea of geomagnetic flux or methane blowouts because they sound like answers. But an explanation is not evidence. A theory is just a story we tell ourselves to make the chaos feel managed. Until we look at the actual numbers, we're just swapping one mystery for another. Numbers do not have a taste for the supernatural. When you examine the data from Lloyd's List, The cold reality is that 1.8% of all vessels worldwide experience some form of casualty, including mysterious disappearances. Now, consider the triangle. In 2021, 8,634 boats passed through that region. Only 2 had casualties. That is a casualty rate of 0.02%. It is 90 times lower than the global average. While the myth survives, the actual shipping incidents on vessels over 100 gross tons declined by approximately 16% over the past year, dropping from 3,353 in 2024 to 2,818 in 2025. The most dangerous waters are nowhere near the Caribbean. The East Mediterranean and Black Sea region experienced the highest number of reported shipping incidents, with 622 cases. Close behind, the British Isles saw 619 incidents, making that region the most dangerous location over the past decade. Why do ships vanish? Not because of portals, but because of metal and oil. Machinery damage or failure was the primary cause of shipping incidents globally last year, accounting for over half of all cases, totaling 1,505. Fire or explosion remained a major concern, with 218 reported incidents. The real danger is not a curse, but a broken engine in a storm. It's almost like we want the mystery to be real, because the alternative, randomness, is more terrifying. The idea that a ship can simply vanish because of a faulty valve or a sudden rogue wave is boring. It's an accident, not a destiny. We prefer the Devil's Triangle because it gives the ocean a personality, a motive. But the math doesn't care about our need for a story. The probability is the only truth here. Even with the data, some holes in the record refuse to close. In 1948, a long-haul flight carrying 25 people and 6 crew members vanished in the triangle without a trace. Then, in 1949, another plane of the exact same model as the 1948 flight vanished in the triangle as well. We have the percentages, we have the global averages, but the physical wreckage of the USS Cyclops still hasn't been found. The math tells us the region is safe, but the ocean is still holding on to those specific hulls and those specific lives. We are left with a clash between the logbook and the legend. On one side, we have the cold, hard arithmetic, a 0.02% casualty rate, a figure that renders the Bermuda Triangle one of the safest patches of water on Earth. On the other side, we have the ghost of the USS Cyclops and its 10,000 tons of manganese ore, sinking into a silence that no sonar can penetrate. We cling to the name coined by Vincent Gaddis because the alternative, that ships simply fail and people disappear by random, uncaring chance, is far more terrifying than a curse. The Atlantic does not need a mystery to be deadly. It only needs a storm and a mechanical failure. But as long as the wreckage of those planes and ships remains hidden in the dark, the myth will continue to drift, waiting for the next ship to lose its way. If you enjoyed this exploration of myth versus reality, please subscribe to stay updated on our next investigation.